It is the 107th meeting all-time between Princeton and Yale. Only the second time they've met in the postseason. Tyler Sandoval wins the opening face-off for the Tigers. They get to work quickly on offense, and it's Coulter Mackesy, the freshman, going top shelf. He struggled last week in his postseason debut, just 1 for 8 shooting. Gets a good look off the Sandoval face-off win, and it's 1-0 Tigers.
You mentioned he struggled last week, but he's played awesome this season. Coulter Mackesy, when you watched late in the year, dominated the Yale game, and then into the Ivy League. He's always had an ability with a quick burst and a right-handed shot to make plays. In Princeton's lacrosse history, when you think of freshmen being impact players, only Michael Sowers, Ryan Boyle have scored more points, along with Kevin Lowe as well, than Coulter Mackesy. He's the 4th best scorer from a freshman perspective.
Another face-off win. Here comes Princeton. Save Jared Paquette. James Stevens the Sandoval won the majority of the draws the first time against Yale. Ramsey wins that one. The pass to Brandow out of bounds. A couple of turnovers now for Yale. And Bone will set up the clear. Here is the ride. Goalie is out. It is a 10-man ride. Really a Ramsey 8 for 22 in the first meeting against Princeton. Wings get involved. Now a 3-on-2 there for Yale. And Pace Billings vacuums. Princeton will set up its clear. You'll see Princeton rotate defensively. Expect George Bond to stay on most of the time. You'll see a lot of 26. Cahal Roberts, the junior born in Dublin. Princeton turns it over, trying to clear.
You saw the defense to play pressure and play physical. He didn't lose his lane.
The last game was kind of low scoring. This one won't be. We found that out early. Already a furious pace. Yale has been James Ball, who in the 4th quarter went 4 for 6 against St. Joe's Zach Cole, statistically the top fogo in the land.
Well, that was nuts because he had less than 30 face-offs the entire season. James Ball, talk about the mental toughness. This is a kid who wants to be a Navy SEAL one day. You put him out in that spot, he delivers.
Stevens, again, is another guy. He doesn't really play D-midi this year. Can go 2 ways. Gives you that instant transition. James Ball at the face-off X for Yale. And the Eli's have possession.
From Hofstra, West Islip.
Princeton now 6 out of 9 at the X. He is one of a school record 7 20-goal scorers for Princeton. They get offense from a lot of places. Ramsey won the face-off, stumbles down, lost the ball, and there is Stevens, a human Roomba. Slusher. This is how they spin it. Brown feeding the cutter. Cameron, he scores. 5 unanswered by Princeton.
This is what Chris Brown gives you now. A spectacular pass in transition, the anticipation of the cut, but it starts with Stevens, who dominates the floor with ground balls. And credit Cameron, family member, and you'll always kind of lean on the goalie, right?
Did you play your brother?
I did.
Right?
Yes.
How is that for mom and dad?
It's terrible for mom and dad. Mom and dad will always favor the goalie because of the pressure of that position, right? So they're going to want Colin, who actually is a senior too, and CJ has 3 more years of eligibility. They're going to want CJ to have a nice day, but it's...
Ramsey able to win the clamp. You're not a freshman anymore, and they expect things out of him. Boy, has he answered the bell now in his 2nd NCAA tournament game.
He's not in the mix.
Lyon's a great story. He missed the fall, didn't play the first 4 games. A young man who found out he had diabetes when he first got to campus, then had a back injury, which was a result of the diabetes, lost a bunch of weight. Andy Shea didn't know if he was going to be a factor. They got to a point where they said, we got to put him in a game and see what happens.
Fielder who can let it fly.
He battled a hamstring injury for much of the season. But Andy Shea trusting his veteran, as you said. 2 goals in the span of 2 minutes and 20 seconds, and it started with the shift to zone defensively. Sandoval for Princeton, Ramsey for Yale at the face-off X. And it's Stuzen.
Number 10, Jack Stuzen.
Bounce shot high. Jack Stuzen is going to be a star. He's got 4 goals as a long pole. As much as the statistics tell you a story that Princeton should be dominating by more, scoreboard tells you it's a 2-goal game. Sandoval flips it. Princeton gains possession. Here comes Stevens. Over to Brown. Working inside. Yale's defense coming out with some purpose. And now Brown working on. He had disappeared at times against better competition. In the Ivy in the regular season, just 4 for 22, the 2 goals today after a round 1 hat trick. Oken retrieves this near the sideline. Yale's had 2. Ramsey wins the face-off for Yale. You remember when Peter Baum won, which is within reach. That's 16. Bragg now at 14.
You know, it's so hard when you're man down. You're always going to be exposed to diagonal passes, Anish, in 2 ways. But when Brandau has the ball and he's the next man in the rotation, defensively you have to treat him differently. You have to shade him.
Ramsey wins the face-off and throws it away. I think that's the second time this face-off against Ramsey. Ginder wins it clean, plays it back. Here's Stevens.
Think about the turnovers. It's 10-8.
Yale goals have come from freshmen. Princeton wins the faceoff. Ginder. Clean exit.
Think about Jake Stevens. These guys do it all.
Sandoval wins the clamp. That one goes off the stick of Slusher. That was an opportunity unsettled for Princeton, wasted. We have the 3rd quarter. Only 2 shots in the first half. So Brandau at least got some looks for Yale in that last quarter. Ramsey wins the faceoff.
Finisher, but his production has been off the charts. 50-point scorer as a freshman. I mean, he has delivered in big spots for the Princeton Tigers.
Yale now backs against its wall. It's not really having lacrosse. Yale went 22 months between games. They had to add 2 new assistants after 2019. Most of the roster withdrew from school last 17. But Yale came into this one having won 6 straight against Princeton. And that stuff doesn't matter. The past is prologue. Team X has won the last 5 or the last 7. That stuff is out the window. But for Princeton to go through Yale to get the championship weekend,